This is Module 3, Lesson 11. We're going to talk about adding fractions without using pictures and also with using the least common denominator. So the first thing is when we have a problem and it is set up horizontally, you should rewrite the problem vertically. Once you do that, the next step, I want you to look at the two denominators. So there's a 2 and a 3, and I want you to list them to the side, a 2 and a 3. And now we're going to think of the multiples for these numbers. So I'm going to skip count. That's what multiples are. And I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. I'm going to stop for there. And then for 3, we're going to go 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. And we're going to stop right there. Now we're going to look at that list. And we're going to find any number that is listed on both lists. So we have 6s are listed on both lists. We have 12s listed on both lists. And now we want to take the least common one. So the smallest number that's on both lists. And in this case, it's the 6. That will be, this 6 will be our new denominator. So now we're going to ask ourselves, what did I do to this 2 to get to 6? Well, I multiplied it by 3. So in that case, I must multiply the numerator by 3 as well. And when I do that, I get 3/6. Then I look over here. What did I do to the 3 to get to 6? I multiplied it by 2. So I must multiply my numerator by 2. And that gets me to 4. Now when I add these two fractions together, 3/6 plus 4/6, I get 7/6. I cannot leave it as 7/6 because the numerator is greater than the denominator. So therefore, I need to say 7 divided by 6, and that goes in one time with 1 left over out of 6. So 7/6 equals 1 and 1/6. And that is how I add finding the least common denominator. We'll do another example. We have 5/9 plus 5/6. So we're going to write 5/9 plus 5/6 vertically. Once again, we notice that we have a 9 and a 6. Those are the two numbers I wrote up over here. I'm going to write a couple of them out. My multiples when I skip count. We have 9, 18, 27, 36, 45. I'm going to stop after 5 for now. And then over here I have 6, 12, 18, 24, and 30. When I look at that list, I notice that 18 is the smallest number on both of those lists. So because 18 is the smallest number on both lists, I'm going to make my new denominator 18. And once again, I'm now going to ask myself, what did I do to the 9 to get to 18? Well, I multiplied by 2. So I have to multiply this number by 2 on the top as well, and that gets me to 10. Now I'm going to look over here, and 6 times what is 18? Times 3. So I have to multiply my denominator times 3, and that gets me to 15. And then when I add 10/18 and 15/18, I get 25/18. Once again, in this case, the numerator is bigger than the denominator, so 18 goes into 25 one time with 7 left over out of 18. So I have 1 and 7/18 as my answer. This works the same way if I'm adding 3 fractions together. I can write 3 fractions vertically. And I'm just going to now use all 3 of my denominators to list multiples. So we have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. And then we have 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. And then we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And I look so far and there's nothing on all the lists. So I'm going to keep going. And I see now that 12 is on all 3 lists. So I'm going to turn all of these into 12. So I have to ask myself, what did I do to the 3 to get to 12? Well, I multiplied by 4. so I have to multiply my numerator by 4. What did I do to the 4 to get to 12? I multiplied by 3, so I have to multiply my numerator by 3. What did I do to the 2 to get to 12? I multiplied by 6, so I have to multiply my numerator by 6. So now I'm adding 8/12 and 3/12 and 6/12, and I get 17/12. And 17/12, once again, the numerator is bigger than the denominator, which gets me to 1 and 5/12. Now, sometimes we have mixed numbers that we're going to add, and when we have mixed numbers that we're going to add, the very first step is to turn these mixed numbers into improper fractions. So I have to turn this 2 and 4/5 into an improper fraction. So I say 5 times 2 is 10, and then I take my 10 and I add it to the 4 over here, and I get 14/5. That was just a reminder for those of you who need a reminder on how to turn it into an improper fraction. So now I have 2 times 1, which is 2, plus 1, which is 3, so I'm adding that to 3/2. Notice I wrote it vertically to make it easier for myself. So I'm now working with 5 and 10. Sorry, 5 and 2, which obviously I just gave you the answer was 10. This is 5, 10, 15, 20. And this is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So I see 10 is my magic number here. So we're going to turn into 10 and turn into 10. And now I have to ask myself, what did I do to this 5 to get to 10? I multiplied it by 2. So I have to multiply this by 2. And I multiply 14 times 2 and I get 28. And then 2 times 10. 2 times what is 10? 2 times 5. So 3 times 5 is 15. And now when I add all of this together, I get 43/10. And I have to turn that into a mixed number, which would be 4 and 3/10. So that is how I add numbers without using pictures. I can add my fractions and I can add my mixed numbers.